Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Dale Pasco, and over here I like to invite women to the soft side of womanhood. Today I am going to be giving you some keys on being assertive even as a feminine woman. So let's go ahead and get into this video. Before we do that, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so. Turn on the bell notifications and make sure you tune in every week on Tuesday and Thursday for a new video. Now let's get into the video. Alright, so I really wanted to get into this conversation because there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to living the soft life or being a soft girl and being feminine and all of those things that are trending right now. And a few weeks ago, well, a few months ago actually, I did a conversation piece on my podcast, She's So Soft, and it was titled Misconceptions of the Soft Life. I really wanted to hone in on this specific area of being assertive and having a backbone, because I have had plenty of conversations and heard plenty of remarks when it comes to femininity and how it is viewed. I have come to realize that a lot of people believe that if you are living a soft life or if you are fully walking in your femininity, that it tends to look as though you don't have a voice, you don't have a backbone, you don't have boundaries. People get to do whatever they feel and please to you and in your life. And I am here to let you know that that is not true whatsoever. You can be a woman who fully embraces and lives out her feminine attributes and still have a backbone, still stand up for yourself, still be vocal, still make your presence known, still be extremely assertive, and still have confidence that isn't just about the outward appearance or, being prissy and the things that mainstream media tries to make it out to be. Now, one thing that I want to debunk is you have to feel as though you have to cower down, whether it be to other women or even men. I believe the beauty of biblical femininity, being a woman of God and fully living and walking in that femininity, is that God really teaches us the beauty and the power of humility, gentleness, meekness, and self-control. And being an assertive woman does not mean that you get to bully other people. It doesn't mean that you don't have any self-control. It doesn't mean that you don't know how to bridle your tongue. It doesn't mean that you just show up and live any type of way because you know who you are and you're comfortable in your skin and nobody's going to tell you what to do. It means that you understand who your God is, who you're serving, who He has designed you to be, how you are to represent Him, and how it draws on the hearts of other people and draws them to Him. The beautiful thing about being a feminine woman that is assertive is that you have standards, that you have boundaries, that you understand the importance of even your personal maintenance, right? And when I say maintenance, I'm not talking about going and getting your nails done, your hair done, and your toes done. That stuff is fun. We need it. It's a part of being a girl, a woman, all that. I'm talking about the spiritual aspect of things. You understand that you need to fast. You understand that you need to pray. You understand that you need to get on your knees and talk to the Lord. You understand the beauty of having moments of intimacy with the Father. You understand the importance of praise. And you know that these are the practices, these are the things that you do to keep yourself in a state of humility before the Father, so that when you're before men and women, you don't get puffed up by head knowledge, by your looks, by your calling, your titles, none of that. You give yourself permission to be humble. And I believe one of the truest signets of being a woman that is assertive is your humility and your standards. I truly believe that when you're a woman who knows who she is, right? when you're confident in who God has designed you to be, you will better uphold the standard that He has placed on your life. You won't allow yourself to live any type of way. You won't treat people any type of way. You won't spend your time doing just any type of thing. You know who you are and how you are to represent yourself. So when I think of being an assertive woman, I don't think of tearing other people down for fun or stepping into a room with my head held high in the sense of I'm better than anyone. I step into that room knowing who I am with the desire of representing who God is, right? And knowing that I have a standard that doesn't allow me to conform to the room, but hopefully touch the hearts of other people in that room for them to be transformed. And if I'm there to receive something, for me to be even further transformed into the image of my Father. Being assertive is not about, still being able to thug it out and, no man being able to do X, Y, and Z to you. That comes with your standard. When you know who you are and you live in the standard of the Lord, there's things that's automatically knocked off. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. People don't do this to me anymore. Nobody has the leeway to do X, Y, or Z to me. I am living in such a way that is representative of who God is and who He has made me to be. So standards play a huge part in your ability to have a backbone. When you know what God has designed you for, when you know the call upon your life, when you understand the people that you need to be impacted by and that you need to impact, this allows you to establish the necessary boundaries. And boundaries are intact in order to help standards be maintained. So this is just kind of like on the flip side a little bit. If you're a woman who says she has, high standards and you have these extra strong boundaries in place, you don't mess with men who have 5 or 6 children because you have kept your body up until the age of 35, or I'll go even younger, up until the age of 25, and you want to make sure that you give yourself to your husband who you are believing in, hoping and praying is doing the same for you, right? So you have standards. You're saying, I'm not doing this, I'm not lowering this, I'm not going to these places. I know the type of man that I desire will find me. But all of a sudden you meet this man and he looks good, he smells good, he has, these different things in place, a lot of different letters next to his name, his family's prestigious, he's, a said believer and all these things, but you notice he has about, 4 or 5 children that you know of. And you kind of overlook it a little bit because you didn't know in the beginning, and he lets you know later down the line, like, hey, I didn't want to break your heart. I didn't want a good woman to get away from me, so I didn't let you know that I had all of these children because I know that you really didn't want to be with anyone with children. And you seem so happy to know that I had no children, but I really do. So you forgive him because you feel like, I could deal with 4 or 5 children. But then you find out that he has a few more. 4 or 5 is pushing it already. But you're like, then you have more. And because you already have a connection with this man, and because you may have given your body to this man, another standard that has been dropped, now you're stuck with him because you feel like you're just so intertwined. Y'all have this soul tie, and now you feel like we're just, I've given him so much of my time. You've dropped so many standards, and you haven't held on to the boundaries that were supposed to keep you intact. And as a result, you end up no longer upholding what you said you would uphold in order to make sure you're giving a specific type of woman to your marriage and even drawing that same type of man. When we don't understand the power of being assertive in who God has called us to be, it causes us to drop our standards. It causes us to dishonor our boundaries. It causes us to lose confidence. All of it works together. It all works together. Your assertiveness is a representation of your confidence in the Lord, your confidence in your design, your confidence in the standards that the Lord has set in your life. But when you choose to dishonor any of those things, a lot of it begins to crumble and fall to the ground. So I just want to let you know and encourage you that you can definitely be a woman who understands who you are in all of your womanhood, right? You can look however you want to look, dress however you want to dress, speak however you want to speak, be respectful, be tactful, be classy, whatever, however God has designed you to be. It doesn't mean you have to be a pushover. It doesn't mean that you don't have a voice. I've heard people tell me plenty of times, like, it just seems like, I can't have a voice if I'm extra feminine. Or I have someone who wants me to mentor them now, and they were saying, I really want to be more of a feminine woman, but I just feel like my husband's going to push me over. And I'm like, well, where are you getting that from? Like, why do you feel like walking in who God has called you to be or the fruits of the Spirit is going to make you a pushover? I've had to overcome that myself, and I'm still working through different areas of that when it comes to my marriage or even other relationships. Like, there's some things that is no longer me being assertive, but just being straight up aggressive because I'm feeling like something in me is threatened. So if there's something in me that feels threatened by my God-given design, right, and the ability to be humble and the ability to be meek, that something needs to die. Why is it that me choosing not to, cuss people out, I don't cuss, but cuss people out, or choosing to quote unquote take the low road, or choosing not to snap back, or choosing, not to send that extra long text that we like to write up when people try to tick us off, or start off those emails with, per my last email, when we're being messy? Why is it that when we choose to not do those things, something in us feels attacked? If something in you feels attacked, that can't be of the Lord, because what is of the Lord is in cooperation with humility. The Bible tells us to humble ourselves, which means that's a personal thing that we have to do. And things that don't like humility are prideful. So when you feel that pride rising up in your heart and trying to go against what the Lord is telling you to do, that's something that needs to die and to leave your life, to be taken out of your heart, because you cannot afford, I cannot afford, we cannot afford to have anything that tries to stand between us and our Father and who He has designed us to be. So being a feminine woman looks like understanding who you are and walking in that. Like, I'm not backing down for anybody. I'm not cowarding down. I'm not downplaying myself. I'm not going to act stupid in order to help other people feel like they're smart. I'm not going to act like, I am over here when God tells me I'm over here. I'm being who God has designed me to be. And I'm going to be that with the standards, the principles, the boundaries, the mindset, the outlook, the perception, everything, the money, whatever, the call. I'm doing it all. I'm not downplaying myself. Assertive women do not step into rooms and downplay who they are. Assertive women also understand when to back up, not because they're hiding, but when they're allowing the Lord to just step in place. He should always be in place, but you know what I mean? Like, when you're saying, okay, God, I know that I need to just take a step back because I really need you to spearhead this. Never feel like the Lord mentioning this in the Bible and saying, hey, have a gentle and quiet spirit means that you're being a pushover. Where does that come from? Where does that really come from? Why do you feel like having a gentle and quiet spirit means that you don't have a voice? That's so much deeper than it's just deep. Because where is that even? Why do you feel like that? So I've met a lot of women even who talk about, yeah, I'm real aggressive and I'm not changing that for anybody and blah, blah, blah. And I noticed that these women tend to just say what's ever in their mind. They don't really have any type of filter. They just kind of like pop off whenever. And it's like, what in you is feeling threatened by what's going on out here? outside of you? Like, what is telling you that you just have to say whatever or act however, or you're finding ways to, what's that word I'm looking for? Finding ways to glorify being ratchet and always being thuggish and never backing down. Why do you feel like you have to constantly show up like that? Like, what are you trying to prove? And who are you trying to prove it to? What in you are you trying to protect? Because truly, when we act like that, when we show up like that, there's something in us that we're trying to protect. What is that? Is it the little girl who was told she needed to shut up and not say anything? Is it the little girl who may have been abused when she was younger and told to be quiet? Like, where did that come from? These are things I've had to ask myself. These are conversations I've had to have internally and externally with my father, because I'm like, God, why am I feeling like I have to, what am I trying to protect? Why am I popping off right here? Like, what's going on over here that is like trying to be protected that you need me to fully heal from and let go of? What is it? How do I let this stuff go? How do I let it go? And I think the beauty of assertiveness is that it doesn't mean you have to be evil and you don't have to self-protect. Like, you get to depend on God. I can only be assertive because I know God. Like, based on my background, my story, my history, naturally, I would probably be more passive. I'm trying to think. Based off of my history, I think I would definitely be way more passive. I would be the one who is mute and has nothing to say. Well, probably has something to say, but doesn't say it because of fear or just feeling like, what I'm saying isn't valuable. Thankfully, that's not my story, but based off of history, I could see how the enemy would try to play on that. And he has tried to play on it. And so I've had to do the work. I know that me being assertive is not of my own doing. I know that me even walking in humility is not of my own doing. I know that being who God has called me to be is not in my own doing. Like, none of this is in my own doing. I have to depend on God for that. So even walking in your femininity requires you to depend on God and allowing him to show you the strength in humility, the strength in gentleness, the strength in meekness, the strength in overall femininity as a whole. Okay? But I really wanted to shed some light on that, because it's like, listen, you don't have to be this little mute woman. You don't have to be someone who doesn't know who she is. You don't have to downplay who you are. Like, we're not doing that over here. 2024, we're walking up into this thing knowing who we are with our heads held high, humbly, not downplaying at all. We're not doing that. But I hope this helped you. If so, let me know some of the ways that you are choosing to become more of an assertive woman, and why it's important that you do that for yourself and even for those around you, because other people benefit from our assertiveness as well, as long as we're walking in humility. Don't forget that. But as always, I am Dale Pasco, and I hope that you enjoyed this part of the soft side of womanhood. As always, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, leave some comments below, and don't forget to connect with me on other platforms. You will see my handles up above in the description area. And never forget that there is nothing mediocre about you. So make sure you step into every room that God sends you to as if you know you're supposed to be there. All right? Love you guys.